Whatever you do, don't look back. Hello, everybody. I'm back for another movie review, and this time, one night, I don't know why, but for some reason, I just got the urge to throw in a disaster film because it's actually one of my favorite movie genres is disaster because it's one of those kinds of films where you just don't really care about the story. You just want to care about the characters, and you just want to see whatever form of disaster occurs to basically cause as much chaos and destruction as possible. And in this movie, however, it's the wrath of Mother Nature herself, or should I say, the dark side of nature. So, I'm about to review Twister. Twister is a natural disaster action thriller that came out back in 1996, and it stars the late great Bill Paxton and also Helen Hunt as a estranged, a couple soon to be divorced, who also are both expert tornado chasers, and basically their intention, along with their group, is to basically throw a device up into the funnel that will basically bring back scientific recordings. So basically, they can create a more advanced warning system so people can get to safety faster. And basically, what follows is a series of madcap, crazed stunts where they literally try to do whatever it takes to put this device up into the funnel of a tornado so they can actually study it better. Oh, and of course, there's other things like Bill's character brings his fiance Melissa along. Melissa, played by Jamie Gertz, who Jamie Gertz, probably best known. A lot of fans will probably recognize her as Star from The Lost Boys. And I believe she went on to do the. I forget the name of the show that she was on, but I know she went on to appear in. I forget what, but sorry if I don't remember. But yeah, like I said, that's pretty much the plot of the film in a nutshell. There really isn't much to say. Most disaster films, like I said, you really don't care about the plot. You just want to see, the destruction happen. And believe me, Twister does have plenty of it. Twister was directed by director of photography turned filmmaker Jan de Bont, who actually, prior to Twister, had just come off of the monstrous success of Speed, the action thriller with Keanu Reeves about the bus that if it goes below 50 miles an hour, it explodes. Yeah, that movie. Which Speed, of course, was a huge critical and financial success. And then Jan de Bont decided, well, you know what? I'm going to try another film and see what goes on. And he was ultimately handpicked to direct Twister. Prior to directing, Jan de Bont was a director of photography for many, many films. And of course, ultimately being handpicked by, obviously many people, like obviously Steven Spielberg and Kathleen Kennedy, and of course Michael Crichton. Well, it's just funny, the screenplay was actually written by Michael Crichton, and he was also one of the producers on the film. Yeah, the same Michael Crichton that was also the author of Jurassic Park, who he collaborated with Steven Spielberg on. Oh, and of course, there's also a rival tornado chaser played by Cary Elwes, who acts as the film's heavy sort of. Well, not exactly a bad guy, but we kind of need a character that almost every disaster film has at least one character that just you don't really care for, and he kind of fits the bill there pretty much. The disaster set pieces are some of the most famous in the entire film, literally. Some of the shots are epic. I mean, but what really comes to life in the film is the film's visuals, where the effects artists literally must have studied the interior of tornadoes to actually bring the tornadoes to life on the screen, which, I'm not going to lie, the effects are still, even to this day, they're still very impressive to look at. And my God, is this movie loud. That's all I got to say. I mean, it's an effects-heavy film. Basically, this one critic said it perfectly. It's an eye-popping, nail-biting, edge-of-your-seat roller coaster ride. Literally. The movie debuted back in 1996 by both Warner Brothers and Universal Pictures, which is a rarity because this is one of Now, I don't know if they collaborated together on many movies, but this is actually one of the few films, as far as I know of, that where they actually work together as a team. And of course, Amblin Entertainment. So the movie opened up, and of course, it exploded like wildfire at the box office, and ultimately became one of 1996's highest-grossing films. Which is funny because 1996 felt like the year for disaster movies, because not only did Twister come out that year, but also Independence Day. So it's like you're either watching aliens blow up the earth, or you were watching people trying to not get sucked up into a tornado, more or less. Yeah, this movie dominated the box office and ultimately dethroned Batman as the highest-grossing movie for Warner Brothers for about roughly 5 years until the first Harry Potter came out. So yeah, Twister was, this movie just exploded, more or less. Ultimately, the film was made on a budget of probably around $92 million, which for a 1996 movie, it's actually not a bad budget for a film like this. In the States alone, it grossed over $240 million, and worldwide, it made about $495 million overall. So yes, the movie was a huge financial box office success. The critical reception was, it was fairly decent. I mean, currently it's got a 63% on Rotten Tomatoes. But again, the critics obviously gave a lot of praise to the performances. The film's effects were highly praised. But the screenplay was criticized. The screenplay is probably the one thing in the film that it doesn't really hold up too well. But everything else holds up great. Yeah, the production design, the cinematography, the music, the visuals, even the performances by the two leads, are great. And I also forgot Philip Seymour Hoffman was in this movie too. This was actually one of his earlier film roles. I forgot he was in that. So overall, the film ultimately picked up 2 Academy Award nominations, both for visual effects and sound, which unfortunately it failed to win both. Visual effects that year both went to Independence Day. Sound went to The English Patient, which, if it was up to me, I honestly think Twister should have won the Oscar for sound, because, like I said, this is a loud movie, and with the sound quality of this film, it really kind of deserved it. I once owned Twister on DVD, by the way, back in, which is also interesting because Twister was actually the first movie ever to get a DVD release when that home video format actually became the mainstream thing. And now, of course, unfortunately, I don't think there is a 4K release yet for Twister, so the Blu-ray is the furthest we're going to get with this film. So anyway, here's the Blu-ray. And honestly, the artwork on it is pretty neat, even though it's practically the same as the cover, but, so yeah. It's pretty neat, actually. Honestly, Twister is actually not a bad film on Blu-ray. Honestly, as for the video, it's presented in 235 by 1, or 240 by 24 by 1, I guess. I guess they made the picture, they stretched it out a little further. But honestly, the video quality on the disc is kind of, I would say it's kind of up and down. There are parts of the film that look absolutely great, and there are parts of the film where they could have done a slightly better job. But either way, this is still the best I've ever seen Twister look. It's definitely way better than the DVD, that's for sure. A lot more detailed than what I noticed on the DVD. So honestly, the video quality for Twister, I would say out of 5 stars, I'd say a solid 4 out of 5 at best. As for the audio, I really don't have much to say. It's a pulse-pounding track. And thankfully, this Blu-ray came out in 2008, I believe, so if I'm not mistaken, 2008, I'm pretty sure it, I don't know why it doesn't say it on the back here, but I'm pretty sure it was 2008 when it came out to Blu-ray. But the audio track is loud, and it thankfully is presented in Dolby HD 5.1, and of course there's the regular Dolby Digital track for those of you that don't have the correct sound system, and of course there's a French 5.1 track as well as English and French subtitles. But honestly, though, the Dolby True HD track, oh wow, this sucker is loud. This is a loud movie, and it deserved the sound nomination it got at the Oscars for a reason. So yeah, this is a loud movie. Dialogue comes out fairly well. The audio, wow, like I said, out of 5 stars, I'd say 4.5 for the audio. As for the bonus features, there's actually a fairly decent amount to look at here. Starting off, we get a commentary with the director, Jan de Bont, and visual effects supervisor, Stefan Fangmeyer, as they both talk about the film. This is more of an effects-heavy commentary, and at some points it's kind of hard to hear the two men talk because apparently they chose to... I mean, because when you do audio commentaries for movies, you're supposed to either muffle the sound or turn the sound off when you're doing commentary. And unfortunately, whoever recorded the commentary, not the two men there, but whoever did the commentary, they should have, organized the sound quality of it a little bit better than what they did with the movie. But overall, it's more of a technical heavy commentary because they tend to talk more about, the look of the film, like, shooting it and of course doing the effects. So it's one of those commentaries. So if you're into stuff like that, this might be a good commentary for you to listen to if you're like going into special effects work in film or learning how a movie is shot. There's a couple of featurettes that are included from the original DVD, like an HBO First Look making of. There's an Anatomy of a Twister featurette. Both are basically a behind-the-scenes look at the making of the film. There's also a new featurette, Chasing the Storm, Twister Revisited, that was actually exclusive to this Blu-ray release. There's also a History Channel documentary, Nature Tech, Tornadoes, and it's actually a fun documentary to look at. It's basically about, studying tornadoes, chasing them, and of course the wrath and destruction they cause. And some of the other features that are actually from the original DVD and plus the 2000 special edition release. There's also a music video of Van Halen's Humans Being and a bunch of theatrical trailers, which, by the way, Humans Being became one of Van Halen's most successful hits when it debuted. But yeah, overall, it's not a bad supplemental package. I would say out of 5 stars, I'd give it a solid 3 out of 5 for the bonuses, because there's a pretty decent amount to look at here. So overall, this is actually a pretty solid release of the film on Blu-ray, and still is a pretty good, pretty decent looking disc in its own way. Again, the visuals are fantastic, the audio is pulse pounding, and like I said, the Blu-ray does come with a fairly decent wealth of extras. Like I said, the History Channel documentary that's included is actually worth a look at. But it's nice to see that Twister actually got a fairly decent selection of extras. So all in all, pretty solid Blu-ray. Definitely worth. And you can actually get it pretty cheap online. I mean, last I saw, it was like, you could probably get it for under $7 brand new on Amazon. So this is actually a good Blu-ray to pick up if you're in the need for a good disaster action flick. So I definitely recommend it. So not only do I have Twister, the movie, but I also have not one, but 2 soundtrack CDs to Twister here. The first one I got here is the film score by composer Mark Mancina. And this was actually the first CD I picked up of Twister. Pretty much. So here's the booklet. Yeah, it basically has pictures from the movie. And so basically, yeah, the film score, which is the first... I was actually surprised I found this one on CD. I didn't think it would actually... because I actually am a collector of film scores on CD. I might actually have to do a video of that one day, like I did with my Arrow video. And it does have the track Respect the Wind by Edward and Alex Van Halen, which plays over the end credits. Now, the song Humans Being is actually not on this CD, but it is on, however, the other CD, which I have here, the music from the motion picture Twister. And it has all the artists like Van Halen, Russ the Root I've never heard of, Tori Amos, Mark Knopfler of Dire Straits, Soul Asylum, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Goo Goo Dolls, Shania Twain, Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham, both from Fleetwood Mac, and of course Edward and Alex Van Halen for, when they do the song, which I believe Respect the Wind. Well, look at that. Both CDs actually have that song, Respect the Wind. And this is where Humans Being is. It's on the... And here's what the CD looks like for Twister. And, of course, here's the insert booklet. Sorry about that. Oh, wow. This is, wow, this one's way more elaborate looking than the other one. This one's way more elaborate looking. More pictures, more stuff. Wow. Oh, whoops. There we go. Sorry, I'm actually fondling with this thing, and I'm still behind the camera trying to, show it there. But yeah, like I said, it's pretty cool that, this is one of very few movies I own where I actually own not only both the soundtrack, I mean the film score on CD, but also the music track, the music CD too. So that's pretty cool that I got to own both for Twister. So all in all, this is actually still a fun action thriller to check out, and of course, probably one of the best films in the disaster genre, and probably one of the scariest, because this is a dangerous scenario in which something like this could actually happen in real life, because tornadoes touch down pretty much all the time across the U.S. Well, mainly in the central state area. But like I said, this is probably one of the scarier disaster films out there, literally. But overall, highly recommended. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen it. And if you have, no problem putting it in once again to check it out. And honestly, my personal opinion, the best time to actually watch Twister is when it starts raining and thundering outside really hard and hoping your power doesn't go out. And I would honestly open all the windows, power on all the fans, and literally aim them all right to you so you can get a perfect feel of the film that you're in for. So overall, yep, highly recommended. This concludes the presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will continue to do more videos like this in the days to come. So until then, take care, and definitely be safe. It's a Twister! It's a Twister!